The Arizona Cardinals are going to go 11-6 in 2022. And damn it, it's going to be the same roller coaster that we saw last year.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay. Hi, I'm Alex Clancy. I'm the host of Locked On Cardinals. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen each and every day, free and available on all platforms. I previewed it all week. I'm going to be giving my final win-loss predictions for the Arizona Cardinals in 2022 today. Well, why today, Alex? Why not wait? That's like doing a fantasy football draft in July. Well, first of all, if this is your first listen, thank you for listening for your first time to Locked On Cardinals. If it's your second listen this week, thank you. I appreciate it. If you've been with me since day one, thank you very much as well. For those that haven't listened, I've gone through camp talking about bigger, broader storylines than people jockeying for positions on this roster because we know pretty much who the starters are going to be for the Cardinals. And we've known pretty much who the starters are going to be for the Cardinals before training camp started. Okay? So I wanted to give more insight into storylines that were foundationalized upon that fact instead of, oh, there's this guy that could start because he intercepted a pass during practice. I feel like it's somewhat of a fool's errand with the roster as currently constructed because Steve Keim has set his plan. He's executed it. And whether you believe in his plan or agree with his plan, doesn't matter. He executed it pretty much to a T. So I'm going to go through the win-loss record right now as an exercise of we know who the starters are going to be come week one. And this is barring any sort of injury before the season starts. But this is showing that between now and when the regular season starts, we know the ending of the book. We know the ending of the prequel. Let's say that before the season starts. So the Cardinals are going to finish 11-6. I just went through this a few times before recording, like, okay, the wins and losses. All right, so I had it 11-6 way before, free agency started. Wins and losses. All right, I did 2 days ago or 3 days ago at this point. I said the Cardinals were going to go 5-1 in division, and that kind of surprised me because I was looking at where the Cardinals were playing the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks throughout the season, when the road games were, when the home games were. Obviously, the Cardinals don't play at home at State Farm Stadium against San Francisco at all because they play at Mexico City, which is their home game, and then they go on the road in Week 18 to Levi Stadium. But I was looking and I was doing the win-loss. I'm like, all right, that puts him at 1-2, 2-3. And I'm petrified. Because if things go exactly the way I say they're going to go right now, I'm just going to retire if this happens. But, for the exercise, this season, how the Cardinals get to 11-6 is eerily similar to how they got to 11-6 last year. And it's going to surprise some people with how I have win-losses going, especially early on in the season. So I'm just going to break right down. I'm just going to go right down into it. What I'm going to do first, this segment, is I'm going to break down the first 3 games because that in and of itself is a season. Kansas City at home, Vegas on the road, Rams at home. This is going to set the stage for what the Cardinals need to do for the other, 11 or 12, can I do math? 14 games that they're going to be playing this season. If they start 0-3, we're looking at a much different trajectory than if they start 1-2 or 2-1 or 3-0. 0-3 is what needs to be avoided. And they will with my projection. So segment 2, I'm going to go through the bye week 4 through week 12, and then I'm going to go week 14 through 18 in the final segment. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn the notifications on so you know when my ugly mug is going to be on camera. Hit like this video so we can get more people aware of Locked On Cardinals. And if you want to leave a review where you get your podcast, Apple, Google Play, cool. If not, I'm just happy that you're here. And I'll be doing a halftime show every halftime of every game from now through 2022 season. I'll be doing it on YouTube and on Twitter Spaces, I believe, but definitely on YouTube. All right, so week 1, Kansas City comes to town. We saw last year, Cardinals took care of business in Tennessee. And I have the Cardinals winning at home against Kansas City. Even though they're 3-point dogs, there's going to be a lot of points scored. Week 1 is like the last real preseason game. There's more teams that are ready than others. There's more teams that are rinse and repeat from last year to this season with moving pieces in impact situations and impact positions. Like the Chiefs have a new roster. They have to redo everything. Tyreek Hill's gone. They have MVS. They have Juju Smith-Schuster. They have Ronald Jones. It's still Patrick Mahomes. I understand that. Okay. It's still Andy Reid. I get it. It's still Chris Jones coming for Kyler Murray. I get all that. But I feel like Cliff Kingsbury is good at some things. And one of them is winning opening season games, week 1 games. So I have the Cardinals winning at home against Kansas City, which is going to be like a hold the phone overreaction one way or the other for both. Well, it's Kansas City, not Chiefs, whatever. The Cardinals, are they for real? Whatever. But I have the Cardinals winning in week 1 at home against Kansas City. Week 2 on the road in Vegas, I have them losing this game. This is their first true test of many in 2022, going into hostile environments with teams that have had major facelifts in the offseason and teams that are projected to finish higher and much further in the playoffs than the Cardinals. And Vegas is one of them. They traded for Devontae Adams. They added Chandler Jones. Him and Max Crosby are going to be an absolute terror. Okay. They drafted Zaire White, who's going to be back up to Josh Jones at this point. Josh Jacobs, because they cut Kenyon Drake. Josh McDaniels' first year as head coach. They got Brandon Bolden there. This is going to be a hybrid of New England Patriot running back scheme, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, and Hunter Renfrow. It's going to be a true test for the Arizona Cardinals. Not to say the Chiefs weren't, but I have the Cardinals losing in Vegas to drop them to 1-1. And then the Rams coming into town week 3. Grudgy match. Like the progression of the relationship between the Rams and the Cardinals interdivisionally has been fascinating. It's very different than the 49ers and Cardinals, which is very different than the Seahawks and Cardinals. What happened last year when the Cardinals went into SoFi Stadium and absolutely punished the Rams in week 4, and then the Rams come State Farm Stadium and beat the Cardinals, and then we know what happened in the playoffs. Like, yes, Bobby Wagner has been added. Yes, Allen Robinson has been added. Okay. Matthew Stafford. There are a handful of quarterbacks in this league that can give you a 3-interception game anytime. Matthew Stafford's still one of them, in my opinion. Okay. But obviously they have more talent. Having said that, early in the season at home, statement game for the Cardinals. I'm having the Cardinals winning at home against the Rams, which moves them to 2-1, the best possible scenario, aside from going 0-3, which is really very difficult against those 3 teams. An optimal scenario going into the rest of the season, having gone through the toughest 3-game stretch they have this year, week 1 through 3, and coming out with a winning record is a huge deal, which will be a huge catalyst for the Cardinals finishing 11-6. I'm going to explain week 4 through week 12 next. It's wild. The more you look into this calendar, the more you look into the schedule, it's absolutely wild what we're going to be experiencing with the Cardinals in 2022. But through 3 weeks, the Cardinals are 2-1. And that's pretty damn sweet. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals, week 4 through week 12. Next, first, Dave. We've talked about Dave. Okay, this is what it comes down to. Sometimes you've got bills, but you don't know where they're coming from. You're like, oh crap, I forgot about that. You've got to fill your tank up. You got to buy a wedding gift for a cousin. Sometimes you don't have the money to do those things. And with Dave, your future self could be like, I got you covered. Don't worry. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. That's more money to fill that tank, to buy that present, to pay that bill. There's no interest. There's no credit checks. So if you're in a pinch and need something extra, download Dave and they'll be able to help you out, get you the financial relief you need in a pinch. Download the Dave app from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. Sign up for an extra cash account. You get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member FDIC. Predicting the 2022 win-loss record for the Arizona Cardinals, yeah. A week and a half out before week 1. You know why? Because we already know what this roster is going to look like. Barring any sort of monumental trade, which doesn't seem to happen, and barring any sort of catastrophic injury, which you hope never happens for any team, not even the one you watch or cover. Cardinals are going to go 11-6, starting 2-1 through weeks 1 through 3. It's going to surprise some people. National media is going to be like, "Oh, here we go again. Now let's see if the Cardinals can finish." Week 4 in Carolina. Carolina has been a bugaboo for the Arizona Cardinals, a pain in the rear end. And the Cardinals can't beat them. Last year, Colt McCoy was starting, so maybe use that as an excuse. Budda Baker 3 years ago was out when they went to Carolina. 2 years ago, I believe. Or 3 years ago, sorry. And then, at this point with Baker Mayfield there, they still have DJ Moore. They still have Robbie Anderson. Christian McCaffrey looks to be healthy. This is the year where the Cardinals get a W. Okay? They're going to beat Carolina. They're going to move to 3-1. And now we're going to be looking at, kind of repeat of what happened last year. This is what terrified me when I was going through this list. I'm like, wait, so week 1, it's a toss-up. Yes, the Chiefs have a better quarterback, Travis Kelce. Juju Smith-Schuster's primed to 25 years old to take on this role that he's never had before. They've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They've got a good offensive line, Andy Reid. But it's week 1. Week 2, Vegas, yeah. Week 3, Rams, wow, big win. Oh, Carolina, so they're stringing together a win. Okay, so the Cardinals are now 4-1. I'm like, holy crap. Week 5, Philly at home. I know that Jalen Hurts is emerging as a darling to take that next step as a quarterback. I don't buy it yet. I don't see it. I don't see it. I just don't. He's incredibly smart. He's incredibly talented. I don't think he could lace a 3rd and 12 pass between 2 defenders. I just don't. I know they have A.J. Brown now, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, Dallas Goedert. I get it. And I don't trust Jalen Hurts yet. So I'm taking the Cardinals. That puts them at 4-1 through 5 weeks. Going to the Pacific Northwest to play Seattle. This is a win. That's 5-1 through 6 weeks. Until Seattle shows that they can really go back to their roots of run the ball 30-plus times a game, eat time of possession, execute in the red zone, and play defense. They don't have the Legion of Boom on the other side of the ball now to be able to bail out sometimes a bad offense or a young Russell Wilson. They don't have that now. They've got Drew Lock and they've got, Geno Smith. They've got a better offensive line. But this is still a win for the Cardinals, in my opinion. Week 7 at home against New Orleans. It's a win. That's 6-1 for the Cardinals. Now, these last 3 teams, Philly's going to be a tough team. These aren't going to be, Cardinals are going to have very many easy wins this year, if any. Philly's a tough team. I don't trust their quarterback. Seattle is Seattle. I don't trust Drew Lock. Jameis Winston, New Orleans. I don't trust Jameis Winston. It's fun to look at what could be. And I root for Jameis Winston. I root for him because when he's good, he's great. When he's good, he's great. And then it's there it is. No Sean Payton. Dennis Allen comes in. Dennis Allen's never proven to be a good head coach. He's loved around New Orleans. Ask Ross Jackson at Ross Jackson Nola on Twitter, Locked on Saints. They love him there. But he's not a guy, in my opinion. He's just not. We've never seen it before. So if this were in the Superdome, I would have given the Cardinals a loss here. But because it's at home, the Cardinals haven't played very well against New Orleans over the last couple seasons. I'm taking a win here to move the Cardinals to 6-1 in the 2022 season. Deja vu. Week 8 in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. This is a loss. The Vikings are going to be really good this year. Their potential has now been unlocked. Kirk Cousins Justin Jefferson is, by all accounts, the best receiver in the NFL. I mean, that's what people are telling me, especially for fantasy football purposes. Adam Thielen, one of the more undervalued guys still. Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison, they've got 2 young backs there. Their offensive line's better. Their front seven's better. Like, the Chiefs are going to be, the Vikings are going to be legitimate. And the Vikings should have beat the Cardinals last year. They were up 21-0, and they were Greg Joseph 30-plus yard field goal away at the end of the game from beating the Cardinals. And remember, the Cardinals had a chance to run the clock out with less than 2 minutes left, and they went 3 and out in under a minute. Just remember that. So that moves the Cardinals to 6-2. Then they get a gift from the Pacific Northwest again in Week 9. Seattle comes back to play the Cardinals in Week 9. That's a win. Until Seattle shows anything, the Cardinals will beat Seattle. So the Cardinals through 9 weeks are 7-2. The start, eerily similar. Week 10, on the road, SoFi Stadium. This is a loss to the Rams. We're going to find out a lot. I know DeAndre Hopkins is back. Hollywood Brown has probably, immersed himself into this offense and becoming a bona fide star, you'd think. Hopefully no injuries have plagued. The defense is going to be the sticking point here. As I said in yesterday's podcast, they're going to be under a microscope. It's going to be microbiology for the defense this year and macrobiology watching the offense, because they're going to have to be the strength of this organization. So it's a loss at SoFi Stadium, dropping the Cardinals to 7-3. Mexico City rolls around. San Francisco coming into town, I guess, because it's a home game for the Cardinals. I'm taking the Cardinals. I don't trust Trey Lance yet. Like, give me a reason to trust Trey Lance aside from 2 games last year and the preseason. I just don't see it. He's young. Like, if he balls out, like, does he have the ability to be a star quarterback? He's got an absolute cannon. I don't know if he's ready to take on. Like, this is deep into the season. This is almost over half into the season. And Jimmy Garoppolo is still there. Like, who knows? What if the 49ers start 1-3? Are they going to be clamoring for Jimmy Garoppolo? We don't know. And Trey Lance, he's a prototypical new age quarterback. He's Justin Herbert-ish. He's Josh Allen-ish. He's not as big, but he's athletic. He's got a cannon, could be in the pocket, be outside the pocket. I just don't see it yet. I don't see it yet. I got to see it till I can see it, and I don't see it yet, so I don't see it. Cardinals go to 8-3, winning in Mexico City against a team that, unless the game matters down the stretch, the Cardinals have owned over the last couple of seasons. Week 12, Chargers at home, loss. The Chargers are going to be very, very good. The Chargers had the best offseason of any team, adding Khalil Mack, adding J.C. Jackson to go with Derwin James and Joey Bosa. They've got, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. They drafted Isaiah Spiller. Their offensive line is good. Like, they're the Bills of the West in a West Coast offense. Like, they're just better than the Cardinals. So going into the bye week, the Arizona Cardinals are sitting at 8-4. Not too damn shabby. How did the Cardinals finish? Well, I Tarantino'd it. I told you they're going to finish 11-6. What games are they going to win? What games are they going to lose? How are they going to finish the season? I'm going to talk about it. Locked On Cardinals, Alex Clancy on a Friday edition. Next, betonline.net. Fastest and easiest way to get in to, check on your betting needs, finding your favorite sports and events. They're the number one online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They've got you covered. Go to the website or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. Through 12 weeks, the Arizona Cardinals will be 8-4 heading into their bye week. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen each and every day, free and available on all platforms. Be sure to join me at halftime of every game through the 2022 season, both on Twitter Spaces and on YouTube. Bring your comments, bring your questions. Let's chat. Let's build this community. The Cardinals will be 8-4 through 12 weeks. And they've got some tough games after their bye week. New England comes into town. Bill Belichick. I said earlier, I think it was 2 weeks ago on a podcast. You can check all the podcasts out on YouTube. Turn the notifications on. Subscribe, like. This is going to be a gut check mentally for the Cardinals with Bill Belichick coming into town. This is winning time. This is Sunday at the Masters. Well, no. It's the turn on Saturday. It's jockeying for position time. And Bill Belichick coming into town with that run game, with that defense, with Mac Jones. They've added some pieces. This is a gut check mental game for the Cardinals. The last time they played the Patriots, Cam Newton was the quarterback. Isaiah Simmons, his rookie year, knocked him out of bounds when he was technically already out of bounds, even though he wasn't. 15-yard penalty, Nick Folk field goal, game winner. The Cardinals had that game in hand before that. Bill Belichick coming into town, different, no offensive coordinators. I think he had, Matt Patricia and some other dude, Joe Judge, calling plays. Like, cool. Mental gut check time for the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are going to fly pass with flying colors. Cardinals win at home against New England to go to 9-4. On the road in Denver in December. Russell Wilson, they know him very well. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon. They've got, Patrick Surtain Jr. Like, they've got a very good defense. Justin Simmons. Like, they've got a very good defense. I think this is a loss for the Cardinals. It's tough to play in Denver, especially in December, especially against Russell Wilson, one of the hotter teams. Even though the AFC West is going to beat up on each other like the NFC West has done the last couple of years, I think it's a loss on the road, 9-5. Tampa Bay Christmas night. Now, I almost put this as a win, but I didn't. The offensive line is going to be tough. Ryan Jensen out. They've got a couple other extensive injuries that's going to keep their starting offensive lineman sidelined for an extended period of time. But it's Tom Brady, it's Christmas, it's winning time. I think that division is going to be closer than people expect, so Tom Brady's going to have to play. They're going to have to put up W's. That's a loss for me to Tampa Bay at home on Christmas. And they finish with 2 road games, Atlanta on the road. That's a win. It's a win for the Cardinals. Like, they're just better than Atlanta. Hopefully Desmond Ridder can come in and really start to get some reps then. Kyle Pitts, Drake London for the future. That's going to be a very fun team to watch. But all in all right now, they're not a very good team. The Cardinals should handle them on the road in Atlanta. And then week 18, this game is going to have massive repercussions, you'd think. On the road at Levi Stadium to play the San Francisco 49ers to end the season. The Cardinals haven't done very well in ending the season the last 2 seasons. They lost to a backup in week 16 2 years ago, San Francisco, then lost to John Wolford. Like, the Cardinals need to win this game to change the trajectory of the organization. And I think they will, which will finish them at 11-6. And hopefully that'll be good enough to be close to a division crown and hopefully not just the last playoff spot. You'd think that that'd be good for the 5th or 6th playoff spot at worst if, the division isn't in reach. That's it, 11-6. I'm putting my stake in the ground now. 2 weeks out, doesn't matter. Nothing's going to change roster-wise that's going to be so impactful that it's going to change anything. Cardinals will finish 11-6. It's going to be a hell of a roller coaster. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. I'm taking Monday and Tuesday off of next week. I will be back Wednesday, and we're in the home stretch, baby. We're so close to football. Hopefully be around. Hang with me. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. I'll talk to you Wednesday of next week.